Hey everyone, I killed Alex.
Yeah?
Can't believe Alex is fucking dead.
I can't believe it.
Absorbed his corpse into her body. It was quite graphic.
Yeah, he had to go to work today, and I said, no, you have to be on the podcast. And he said, I can't, and I killed him.
On the spot.
You know
That's
how
what
it
you
is.
get.
Business is business.
Killing essential workers.
Have
How
you ever
awful.
watched
business.
someone? Have you ever watched someone get murdered from half a country away? I do not recommend it.
I'm a good shot.
I could see
Don't
it
well,
from
well,
an
I guess
entire country
do
away.
drone strikes count?
Ah,
Yeah, but they're not
would
personal.
say.
You know, I've
They're not
always
personal.
said murder is one of the most intimate forms of human communication.
Yeah, you've always said that. Is
No,
that
you
is that
can
the claim you're making?
you can ask Lily. That is something that I do say fairly
They-
often.
that is something they say.
That is
Why
one of my
am
many
I
perilous
just now
catchphrases.
hearing about this?
You don't follow me on Twitter. That's why.
Oh. To be fair, I for the longest time refused to make a Twitter, and then was more or less forced to.
Well, we said it's strongly recommended because you don't use most social media platforms. And unless you want-
I have a Tumblr, and that's about it.
That you also
the
don't
worst
really
one.
use.
Yeah, I also
No,
just browse through
slowly
memes with
Twitter
that.
is becoming worse now.
I've been on Tumblr for 7 years.
Haha!
joke.
You are like
That
a
sounds-
baby.
That
I've been on
sounds
Tumblr
about-
since 2010.
I can't remember when I got on Tumblr, to be perfectly honest.
I've been on Tumblr for a decade. I was
Also,
there
I-
for the original blue transition that everybody went nuts for, but I was colorblind, so I never noticed it happen.
I remember that. But no, it's like so if I end up dropping out of the podcast today, it's because I had to get a tooth pulled about
Coward.
4.5 hours ago.
I had mine pulled 4 days ago, so we're currently oral surgery buddies.
Yeah,
I also had
We're all
4
just
times
having-
the amount of teeth pulled.
yeah, you had your wisdom teeth pulled, and I just had a bad tooth pulled.
Yeah, I can
Because
now.
getting
I'm
my
now to the
wisdom teeth
point.
extracted is $2,000 with insurance.
Yeah, that
Yikes.
was. Mine was $800. Then my mom's insurance was all like, "Yeah, we'll take pity on you. You're also on the plan." And then they're like, "Okay, now it's $500. Oh, you don't want to be in pain while you're getting your teeth extracted? You want something to numb your mouth so you don't have to feel us pulling out your 4 rotting, decaying wisdom teeth? $600.
$2,000.
Not quite.
That's how they
'cause
get you.
my mom's a nurse, so she has
Uh-huh.
fairly good insurance, and the one
Uh-huh.
mercy my mother has taken on me is letting me be on her insurance.
Yeah. Yeah.
God bless.
I haven't got my wisdom teeth pulled because the last dentist I had a consult with to do so was probably about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. And that doctor did not believe in anesthesia.
Yeah.
Ooh.
My wisdom teeth are
Oh.
impacted and have not surfaced.
Oh, yeah.
No
That's
thanks.
not-
Yikes.
Yeah,
I
I
got knocked out for mine.
Yeah, I got lidocaine, and that was it.
I would have
my
asked for like
wisdom
nitrous
teeth
oxide or
are-
something. Just put me the fuck to sleep.
I got nitrous, but I have so the worst story of my life is I have a genetic condition. It runs in my family. My mom also has it, where anesthetic does not work on me.
Oh no.
That's unfortunate.
So I still remember one time I had to get a spinal tap done,
Ugh.
and
What does
was
that mean?
Ooh.
A spinal tap is where they take a very large, very painful needle and insert it into your spinal cord to get your delicious juices out for testing.
Please don't say it like that.
But yeah, I've also had doctors that haven't believed in like pain medicine because I have chronic pain. So a lot of doctors are like, well, you can't prove you have chronic pain, so obviously you're a whore and a scoundrel. So no pain pills for you. The one time that's like normally if you have I got my teeth pulled, so I managed to get Tylenol 3, which is regular Tylenol, but it has codeine in it, which is a very mild pain reliever.
The good shit.
It's okay. It's alright. It is the most likely to prescribe pain medicine because the opiate in it is very minor and you also have Tylenol in it. But because you're already taking an NSAID, you cannot take more NSAIDs, which means that once you take your dose for the day, you're fucked. Anyway, that aside, 2 years ago, I moved from my apartment in Dallas to my now house with my mother in a much smaller town outside of Dallas. During that process, I had a series of tragedies where I was helping move the couch into our moving truck. I had to, then because I was the most nimble and one of the taller movers, had to go and put a box on top of like the little stowaway part on those moving trucks. I went to go and get down, and I tripped when I fell, and I twisted my ankle. It's like, oh fuck. Thankfully I was wearing my working shoes, so I didn't fuck it up too bad. I then went inside, took off my shoes so I could wrap my ankle. And as soon as I got my ankle iced and everything, and I took a couple Tylenol or something, I picked up a box. The box caught on my toenail, ripped it clean off of my foot.
Oh!
So I was like, okay, this is like the last of the 10 boxes we need before the truck was completely packed. So we get the rest of the stuff in the truck, and I turn to my mom, I'm like, okay, Mom, I've been bleeding out for the last 30 minutes. I need to go to the ER. She's like, okay, cool, we'll break. I'll go take the truck to the new house. You take an Uber to the ER, and I'll pick you up when you're done. I get in the Uber. The guy's like, okay, where are you going? I was like, I'm currently bleeding out. I just need you to shut up and take me to the hospital. I'm not going to be pleasant in conversation. Do not turn on music. Just take me to the hospital. I get to the hospital. The hospital is doing renovations. So the ER has been moved. I have to limp through the ER. To the new area where they're doing triage. I limp up to the desk and I was like, hey, can I get a wheelchair? And they're like, oh, well, we don't have any right now. You obviously walked here, so you're fine. And there's like the literal trail of blood leading up to where I am. And so I'm like, okay, well that's great. My toenail got ripped off and I'm like still bleeding. Can I get some help with that? She's like, okay. I'll get like a doctor or something. They pull me in for triage. Still no wheelchair. I do not get a wheelchair for this entire experience. They forced me to walk throughout the entire hospital. Fuck Medical
American
City.
healthcare.
If you are in Texas and you have a choice of going to a hospital, do not go to Medical City centers. Fuck that. I am put in a room, and the nurse comes in, she's like, so what happened? And I was like, well, as you can tell from the small pool of blood that is now forming in my sandal and under it, I no longer have a toenail. She's like, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna go get the doctor. Leaves again. The doctor comes in, and this, I don't, if you can, like, think of, like, a surly doctor, like a surly conveyor belt doctor, this is what that guy looked like.
I'm not sure if I know what those words mean.
So a conveyor belt doctor, or, like, there's several different words for it, that's the term I know, is a doctor that, like, does the bare minimum to get you out of the hospital. They treat every patient as though they're a product on a conveyor belt. So they just...
so you're...
Yeah.
Do you just pronounce conveyor belt like that?
Yes.
With an N?
Yes.
I'm gonna make fun of you for that.
Is there not an N in that word?
There's not
No,
an end in
there's-
conveyor
there's
belt.
not an
I thought there was like
conveyor
a
belt.
pun there, like vein as in the thing that blood goes through.
That's not the important part of the story. The important
Yeah, but I
We're gonna
still have
focus
to
on
make
it,
fun
though.
of you for mispronouncing a word.
Fine, I will make fun of the way Vezoth says sword. You can make fun of the way I say conveyor belt.
Sword.
Look, I say sword like that on purpose.
I still hate it. Anyway, the doctor comes in and he's all like, okay, well, we need to cauterize your wound. And I'm like, okay, I've had a wound cauterized before. It's not great, but normally it's like they numb you up. He comes in, he's like, we're gonna give you lidocaine. I'm like, you're gonna give me fucking lidocaine when you cauterize my foot?
Lidocaine's for fucking like sunburn.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
what they put in
minor.
my mouth when they pulled my teeth out, too.
Why?
That's been my life. Well, like I said, I've been used to
Meanwhile,
most painkillers.
I have had 3 teeth pulled in my lifetime. This is the only tooth where the doctor was nice enough to apply, like, a topical, like, numbing agent to my gums
A
before
general
he stabbed
anesthetic,
me with a needle.
yeah.
Jesus,
Mine didn't do that.
I've gotten my teeth pulled 3 times, including my wisdom teeth surgery, and I went under each time.
Yeah, I
Like,
can't
what
relate.
the fuck is going on?
So hold on.
A regular
It gets worse.
tooth extraction's not that bad.
I know, but I am like terrified of pain. I don't know if like my mom tells the doctors that or something. But like they gave me an IV,
Oh,
and
yeah, it's probably
and
your mom
I'm
saying
gone.
a preference. But it's just weird. It's a lot of pressure, and then it's
Yeah.
out.
So the guy comes in. So the stuff they were using to cauterize it was, I've had brand cauterizing done before, which is where they just get like a hot thing. This was a
Uh-huh.
chemical cauterization, which is, I have no opinion on which is
I've
better
never
or
heard of that
worse.
before.
So that's where they use a thing called silver nitrate, which is a chemical that, when combined together and then applied to skin, works a lot like lye with water, where it just burns and then will cauterize the skin, causing a scab. Which is just
Interesting.
allows it to stop bleeding, because the blood vessels on there and everything is so frayed, they don't form scabs well. So he does all that. I tell him it's lidocaine. I'm still in a lot of pain because it's the only thing preventing me from feeling the full brunt of this is fucking lidocaine. Which, as Jay said, is what you put on a sunburn.
That's the only time I've ever heard of it, is when I used the fucking aloe vera spray with lidocaine.
To be perfectly honest, I've never used it.
I have an ointment with lidocaine.
I have to be careful because I have eczema, so I can't use most things. But yeah, I know of it because it's a lot of times what they'll put in like numbing sprays and stuff for like sunburns.
Oh.
Yeah.
I just like rub aloe lotion
And for
or something.
pain
Yeah,
relieving
it never has lidocaine. It's just like aloe plus lotion.
So the guy
If
goes.
it has a numbing agent, it's gonna be.
It's
lidocaine.
usually lidocaine. It can also be robenthine. They have the same ending. If a medicine has if you can usually tell what a medicine does based off its ending. Like all benzos are gonna have like ene ending. And then there's like the PAMs and stuff. All of those are like your muscle relaxers and your benzos and stuff. Anyway, not the point. So he cauterizes my toe, and he finishes up and he leaves, and the nurse comes back in, and I'm like, okay, great. What are you giving me for pain? Because I just got cauterized. The lidocaine's gonna wear off in 30 minutes. I need to hurry up to whatever 24-hour pharmacy is the closest and pick this up. She's like, oh, the doctor that visited you today doesn't believe in painkillers.
Yeah, what?
That's not how doctoring works.
One of my favorite things, like one of my
They're not
favorite
real.
phrases in the English language is "I don't believe in blank" when that thing exists in real life. Like, I don't believe in gay people. I don't believe in painkillers. Like, but painkillers exist, bud. They're.
He doesn't
I'll
ever
drive
use
over to the
aspirin.
nearest Walgreens and show you some Tylenol, and I'm gonna hold it up like a fucking crucifix.
So I remember the just like sheer, just like, I felt like someone had upended a cold bucket of water on me. Because I had gotten a cauterization for, like, a pretty bad scrape before. Like, it was a gaping wound that didn't quite, didn't need stitches, but it was still bad enough, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I know that it hurts like hell. And you basically need to be unconscious.
Oh, yeah.
Or else you will be in agony. And I know this now from experience, because I told the nurse, well, could you maybe, like, convince him that they're real?
Or can I speak to another doctor, maybe?
I'm not like, or can I, like, go back through the ER and see someone again for the massive amount of pain I'm about to be in? And she's like, well, I can go and talk to him. And she leaves, and she's gone for, like, less than 5 minutes. She comes back, and she's like, he got you? And it is a phrase that I have heard before. It is the most dreaded phrase I've ever had as someone that experiences chronic, really bad pain. He prescribed me 600 milligrams, or it might have been 800, of ibuprofen.
Oh my god.
To be fair, ibuprofen's considered one of the better pain relievers, but that's not enough.
May I remind you, this is a prescription for ibuprofen!
Yeah.
It is considered prescription strength ibuprofen, and I said, no thank you. I guess I'll die. And then I was discharged.
That's the amount of milligrams I got for aftercare for my wisdom teeth. Yeah, and I know because I still have some. Yeah, and I was like talking to my mom.
I just took 2 pills of ibuprofen. They're 200 milligrams apiece.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for reference, your standard ibuprofen, each of those little, like, pills that you get of ibuprofen is usually around 200 milligrams.
It's 100, 200. It depends on...
It depends. What I get as someone that takes ibuprofen a decent amount and lives in a house where a lot of people tend to have to take ibuprofen, we usually get the 200 milligram ones, and because of my weight and stuff, I take anywhere from 2 to 3 to 4 if I'm not going to be taking ibuprofen for the rest of the day. And he was like, okay, just take 4 ibuprofen since I have burned all the flesh on your foot so that it will no longer bleed. Just take 4 ibuprofen and fuck off. I am then, again, no wheelchair, so I'm then told I'm discharged. The nurse says goodbye. I walk past the doctor, again limping, because my sandal is still full of blood. Oh. That has not changed.
Yeah.
It is very sticky, and I am still getting the floor.
Gross.
You mean they didn't clean your sandal for you, the considerate people that they are?
No.
You have to.
I'm then. It's December too, so it's fucking freezing outside. All of my clothes had already been packed, except for I was in my standard issue clothes, which is a button-up t-shirt and cargo shorts.
In December.
In December. No, of course, it's a Texas December.
Fucking sandals.
So it's not like it was snowing or anything, but it was still like 30 fucking degrees outside.
Yeah. It still gets cold.
And that's something that I don't think enough people recognize. Even in the southern states where it's like 130 in the summer, it still gets to like 27 degrees.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and this was one of our more mild winters, because, like I said, it didn't snow or anything that winter. But it was still pretty bad. I mean, yeah, so
you're still freezing your ass off.
I'm outside, I'm waiting for my mom to get back. She's about 10 minutes away. There's no benches or anything. I've already been warned that I'm not supposed to be loitering outside the hospital.
They wouldn't let you stay in the waiting room either, I'm guessing.
They would not let me stay in the waiting room. I got yelled at by security.
That's stupid.
And so I am then.
This is pre-corona.
This is pre-corona. Yeah. This was December 18th of 2018. Which is also the day after the Tumblr porn ban.
The day after.
Rip.
The day after.
You couldn't even come home and have a good night.
I couldn't even come home and do, at the time, what was my favorite activity, which was looking up anything on Tumblr and then seeing how long it took me to encounter pornography. I couldn't even do that. I couldn't relax with my favorite activity at the time. My mom picked me up and we went to an empty apartment because we were waiting until the next morning so we could give the keys to the complex manager. Well, we were at the zone apartment. So the complex manager, and we could leave. So there is nothing in the house. There's a couple of towels.
Just stuff you didn't want anymore.
Well, it was stuff that, like, we knew that we were going... My mom has, like, an SUV minivan.
Uh-huh.
So we were just going to cram it in there on our final trip back. And
yeah, that makes sense.
So my mom goes and, like, she tries to get me as comfortable as possible with the towels. I'm curled up in a corner. As the lidocaine wears off, I'm just, like, sobbing. We call my PCP, and we're like, hey, we just give us, like, 10 Tylenol 3s just to get me through the day. And it takes leaving a recorded message of me going through the worst pain of my life and screaming into a receiver before someone finally gives me the prescription.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, that was worse than getting my teeth pulled.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
So.
I would be surprised if it wasn't.
The only cauterization story I have is from my good buddy, my coworker Tyler.
I have heard stories.
Who is a fucking dumbass.
I have heard stories.
Tyler, if you ever listen to this, you shouldn't be offended, and you know because you're an idiot. You're a huge idiot.
Sorry.
Because he.
That was my coworker.
Yeah, I know. That's the joke.
I don't remember what exactly the wound was, but he hurt himself pretty bad, and he was like, I'm gonna cauterize this wound. And he didn't have, like, anything on him to do it. So, what he did, he used a fucking hairdryer.
Oh my god.
No.
That's worse.
Yes!
That's worse, actually.
Yes! He used a goddamn... He said I was like, did it do it? And he's like, yeah, eventually, but it hurt the whole time. And I was like, yeah!
Yeah, because up to that point...
hairdryer!
Because the cauterization it's supposed to be that it's so fast and instantaneous that it doesn't cause an actual burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why, like, a pan and a stove, a pan and a lighter would have been
a curling iron. That's what I used when I had to get the first time I ever got cauterized was with a fucking curling iron.
I prefaced this with saying he's not a smart man. We were in the break room the other day, and the soda vending machine in our break room sprung a leak. So there was a giant puddle of water on the break room floor. So at the end of our shift, he was tasked to mop it up. So he brings the mop in, starts mopping, and then he leaves, and then comes back with the actual, part of the mop that holds the water. And I was like, you just thought you couldn't, you wouldn't need that. And he was like, I thought it wouldn't be, I thought I could just mop it up with just the mop. And I was like, and then track the dripping mop through the store. And he's like, listen, I'm telling you, in his words, brain don't work.
I see.
Let's be honest, I have come across puddles I've worked a lot of different food service jobs, and I've come across small enough puddles where I could just go out with a dry mop and clean up a puddle.
Yeah, but it was like...
If it was like a puddle of water, then it's the difference is there's also, like, the difference of being able to clean something with, like, a new mop head versus a used mop head, too.
But it was like 4 square feet of water puddle on the ground.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother story, because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, there was no way to dry a mop. Once it's wet,
Oh,
it will
yeah.
remain
It's-
wet forever.
Yes. That's I worked at 7-Eleven for a while, and I was graveyard shift, which honestly, not the worst. Honestly, I will be right out there. Best job I've had, probably.
Wow.
Fucking graveyard shift at a 7-Eleven.
You probably came across a lot of weird people.
I did at one point. 2 12-year-olds, realizing that because this happened before we started a podcast, I've not told this story. 2 12-year-olds came in blackface one night.
Oh.
That's not good.
Again, if you follow me on Twitter, a lot of these stories are just kind of regurgitated from Twitter.
I mean, that's
They
fair.
they joined a Discord call that we were in with like Alex and Tyler when this happened.
Yeah, because I was so blown away. Because again, it's a fucking 7-Eleven. The rules of 7-Eleven are really fucking weird and arbitrary. You can't sit behind the counter. You can't sit in the back room. And you can't leave the front unless you're cleaning. And then if someone comes in, you can't leave the front. Those are the night rules. I don't give a shit about the day rules. I never work days.
Yeah.
So these
Fuck day
two,
shift.
I hear the door go off, and I come back from whatever the fuck I was doing, and it's these two little white girls done up entirely in blackface, like raw, not like blackface like they use charcoal, but like obviously bought the wrong foundation. Came in, they're all like, "Are we pretty to you?" And I just stood there. I didn't say anything. I didn't react. I just stood there. As they
abolish white girls.
I'm just sitting here.
I just stood there, staring into the inky abyss that, even in and of itself, refused to comment back to me on the situation. I stood there as my newspaper delivery man, who I was becoming friends with because he wore a trench coat no matter what the weather was.
Oh, I love him already.
And he always had like some sort of anime shirt and cargo shorts and like dad sandals with socks. No teeth.
Drip.
Oh, I love him.
An undercut with like insanely long hair. Like,
You do what you got.
Jay, he had your haircut. Like,
Describing me
really
now.
long, curly hair. With an undercut. And he was really... I never knew his name. He only knew my name because it was on my name tag. And we would talk for several hours at a time because he was just genuinely a nice guy that looked like the embodiment of 4chan on accident, apparently.
The protagonist of hatred.
He looked like that, but he was like a genuinely nice person. He walks in with his newspaper, sees these two girls that then wheel on him like squealing demons from hell, turns around with the newspapers, and just goes out and sits in his car until they leave.
I would too.
That's
Fuck.
funny.
I was trying so hard not to emote at all, but like, that's one thing that I will always be able to have, at least in retail, is that I am very good at not reacting to customers after all that I've been through working retail.
That's something that I've been surprised that I've been able to manage, because like I'm a very emotional person and it's very hard for me to hide my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So like when something funny would happen, I was always surprised that I'd be able to like, you know, keep myself from laughing or like getting angry or something. Though the closest I got to breaking, which is stupid, is when I was working at Walgreens. This dude comes to pick up a photo order, and I always go, "What's your name?" And he says, "Griffin." I always ask last name, so he goes, no. So I say,
Wrong
shut
podcast.
So I say, last name, he goes Griffin, and then I go through G, and I go, Brian? And he's like, yep.
No!
And I
No!
it was so
Hey,
fucking
Peter.
hard for him. It was so hard not to laugh in this man's face, and I'm sure he knows. Like, it's hard not to. And I was like, I know he's gonna be incredibly unamused if I do laugh. But that's the closest I got to breaking. It was just, oh, Brian Griffin, you're ready? Your photo order is ready?
Jesus.
What, do you have pictures of Lois?
Yeah, I know.
Perhaps
It
a
is,
martini?
it is
I
so
never-
hard sometimes not to break for customers.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest. I've worked retail for most of the jobs in my life.
Mhm.
For the most, I've never actually ran across people like this. But that's because I was working with them instead. Because I was usually working backroom.
Ah! You
Mm.
lucky
The
motherfucker.
best part of retail.
No, it's not. Because you have to deal with the exact same people as the customers, except instead of like a 15-minute encounter, it's an 8-hour shift, day in, day out.
I don't know. I've worked both. I honestly don't know which one I prefer, because you're right, because they're both hell in different ways.
And it's just a mess. But I honestly prefer the backroom because my last backroom job, I worked in the dairy cooler. So what I did was I wore my heavy duty pants, long socks, and then I had gloves, and a hat, and then my headphones, of course, because I was in the dairy cooler and no one could stop me from listening to music in the dairy cooler because I'm sitting in there for 6 hours.
Yeah, that was me, because I was working night shift, and it was hell. So I'd listen to whatever and just listen to a podcast and just pause it when people came in.
Yeah, and so with my night shift job, I was doing stocking, and there was technically a uniform in that I was issued a shirt, and I was told to wear the shirt, but then I got there my first day, wearing the shirt, and my coworker, the shift lead for the night, so because I was the only other guy who worked the night shift, stocking the store, was like, "Oh, you don't have to wear that. No one cares." So from that day forward, I put on my jacket and I stocked and listened to music, wearing like a graphic T-shirt.
Hell yeah.
Because so I would leave before the store manager would come in at 7 o'clock in the morning. So as long as I didn't come
Yeah.
across him, it didn't matter.
Yeah,
Vezoth
that's
said,
basically
fuck
it.
the system.
Well, because when I was working at 7-Eleven, it was only a T-shirt. We had like a specific T-shirt made of like the weirdest fucking fabric imaginable. I still have this
I would
shit.
say it's close to nylon.
Like that weird plastic type.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
My uniform for Walgreens was similar.
Yeah, it's a lot like the Walgreens one.
Shitty, stupid polo that I hate, and I want to burn it.
It was
I
like
got one
it
of
was
those from
They
Whataburger.
don't smell good.
It was done
I
in a
know.
Jersey style with like a big 7 on the back, and it's like Team 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Ugh.
So, and for a while I was like, okay, I'll wear, cause like my signature look is cargo shorts. Cargo shorts are I am obviously a non-binary gay, cause I'm just like, cargo shorts, I can stick everything I need for the day in them. Snacks, phone charger, a battery pack, more snacks, a knife, another knife,
3 more knives,
Third knife.
a lighter.
a lighter, whatever I may need. I kept like a multi-tool in one of my pockets, and my phone, and the store keys, and the distance alarm, and I could keep them all in my cargo shorts. And I was fine for a while, because most of the time I'd get off at 6, and my manager technically didn't come in until 7, but sometimes he'd come in earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
so I managed to wear those for like 3 weeks before he finally came, and he's all like, what the fuck?
Look, cargo shorts, pants, whatever, are great. I started wearing cargo pants in high school and haven't stopped.
They're great!
Now
they're
I
I'm not a-
kind
I'm
of
not-
want to get a pair of cargo shorts.
Well, I'm not partial to cargo. I'm not partial to cargo pants. The only reason why I ever wore them was because there was working a I still am working a factory job.
I talked her into him.
It's what?
I talked you into them. Because I just they're great for factory stuff, especially.
They are very convenient for a factory job, but the minute I get another job, I'm probably not going to wear them again.
I mean, that's
They're
perfectly
good for
understandable.
Like unless I'm
They're good for hiking too.
Yeah, they're great if you're going to be doing any sort of long trip. So like if you're going for a hike, they're great because you can carry an extra water bottle in a pocket. You can carry a few snacks, any sort of survival
A knife,
instruments you need, like a knife or some rope,
two knives.
Because that was something I did used to go hiking every once in a while. And every time I used to have a Camelback, and then in a pocket, in addition to the Camelback, I would have another water bottle. And then in addition to that, I would like to try to have some kind of nylon cord, just in case. Because nylon cord is great, and it's cheap.
Yeah. I know, just kind of going back to retail, the worst retail job I worked was Forever 21. Fuck Forever 21. If you shop at Forever 21, I fucking hate you. It doesn't matter that I don't work there anymore. I hate you on a level that is so fundamental and embedded so deep within my soul. I will stab you just on principle of the matter.
Yeah.
Fuck Forever 21.
Fuck Forever 21, dude. And with
all my homies hate Forever 21.
Fuck Forever 21. All my homies hate Forever 21. And with that, we will be
we'll take
right
a quick
back.
break. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back.
Yeah, we
Welcome back. Yeah, we spent the entire break while Tyler was off taking a mad shit. Something and I were yelling about Pokemon.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, I took a bad shit.
But anyway.
I mean, you were gone for a while. We got through an entire discussion about.
We got worried.
It was like 30 minutes.
I went to the bathroom, and then my stepmom just talked to me on and on about nothing. About a Johnny Appleseed documentary.
What?
I'm not going to.
Let's not get into it.
Yeah,
so Aries, you said that you had a hornet that attacked your armpit.
Okay. It was
Let's talk about the hornet.
So, I tweeted today, I found a hornet in my armpit. And hold on, I can find the exact tweet while I catch everyone up. Yesterday I had a doctor's appointment that did not really go very well, and I got a bit upset about. So I was kind of like out of it yesterday and today. So I was like, okay, I'll go on a walk around the block. We have a Five Below down the street. I'll go and grab a soda, and then I'll take a walk down the street to, there's like a little bench at the end of our block, and I'll just go sit there. And I sat there and I was catching up on the Magnus Archives, and I got to it was the funniest coincidence, honestly. It was not quite a jump scare, but it was like they got to a scary reveal in the Magnus Archives, and they were talking about a spider, and I feel something crawling in my armpit, just like, and I was like, huh, I don't like that. So I go and I cup it with my hand and I go, that hurts. And I fling it to the ground. And it's just this hornet just looks up on me and like buzzes her wings, and she's like, obviously she didn't like that. It's like, I didn't like it either. But yeah, there was just a hornet chilling out in my armpit for some fucking reason.
Did it sting you, or?
No.
No?
Incredible.
And I just picked up a hornet with my bare hands, which, by the way, if you did not know, hornets are very prickly. Like a cactus.
Yeah, they've got spines.
They're like tarantulas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting in my car after work the other day, and there was a wasp on my door frame, and I shut my door so quickly that I hit my head on it. If that tells you anything about how terrified I am of these fucking things.
It
Like
reminds me
I was just
of...
on my phone, and then like I looked over, I heard buzzing. I was like, "Oh fuck!" I closed the door so quick. I'm surprised I didn't slam my foot in the door.
But
Yeah, I don't have a fear of bugs.
Yeah,
Thankfully.
the prickliness thing reminds me of an article I once saw made by someone or other. I don't remember exactly who, but they're like, hornets and wasps are they don't have any hair or anything like that. And then there's like a picture of like an example of a hairless hornet, and it's just covered in hair. And just like you couldn't even find an image that like proved your already incorrect point. You had to use an image that proved that you were wrong.
Yes.
People are fucking weird when it comes to science. It's like,
Yeah.
People can just straight up, like, depending on what publishing agency you go to, you can just publish things that are wrong.
Yeah.
It's
Because
wild to me.
basically by the end of it, you're paying for it. So
It depends on
they
like
don't
the
care.
publication is like, but there are totally for-profit publications.
Most
it's
of them.
why, well, like good, like actual science journals aren't for-profit. But there are a lot of for-profit science journals, quote unquote.
You know, put that in massive air quotes.
Yeah, there was. I was pantomiming there. I hit my mic in the process. There's.
Aw.
I'm just bad about remembering where my mic is.
It happens. It's right in front of your face, and people who talk with their hands, like you and me.
Yeah, we're kind of bone.
Just
Don't.
Bone.
Please don't abuse the microphone.
I don't care. I bought it.
Be nice to
Fuck.
Michael. Yeah,
Did you
there's
say
just...
Michael?
Michael
Yeah.
phone.
Certainly did.
I didn't think anyone noticed.
Mike is short for Michael.
Mike is actually short for Mycicle.
And bike is actually short for bicycle.
There's so many times where I'll say something like that and nobody will hear it, and who's ever editing, usually Lily, will come back to me and be like, "You're really weird."
You just noticed now?
Well, no, I remember she was editing Minecraft at one point. She's like, "You're really good at like weird visual stuff that none of us are going to see when you're actually acting it out."
Mhm.
And just like jumping off that topic, I will absolutely say words wrong. It will be done on purpose. If you don't react, I will
Doesn't make me
continue
hate
on like
you
nothing
less.
happened.
Doesn't make me hate you less for saying sword is sword.
Sword and jalapeno and tortilla.
I will kill you.
Hurricane
Like the fucking
tortilla.
customer
I
in a
I
Whataburger.
draw the line at fucking tortilla. My mom says tortilla, which is probably the worst one.
That's so significant.
It was like, you were
That
so
is the
close, you were
worst
so
one.
close, and you pronounced the fucking L.
It's so close.
Why
it's
did she do
so
that?
wrong.
Because she's white.
That means nothing.
And
I'm white
Southern.
from it.
I'm white.
I'm
We-
mostly
And
white.
Southern.
As part
Most of
Hispanic,
us
I
are.
curse
see,
your mother.
I'm doing it on purpose. I know it's pronounced tortilla. But I'm
Well,
doing it because it's
tortilla.
funny.
Tortilla. What's worse? So a white person that like blatantly pronounces it wrong, or a white person that over pronounces it?
I think pronouncing it wrong is worse because at least they're trying, you know, in the,
But
in
no,
the ladder.
Pronouncing it wrong on
When you-
purpose. Like
When you
like
say
me.
they overpronounce it, elaborate.
Oh fuck, I'm trying to think of. It happens a lot with like French and Italian words when you're like ordering food. If you ever go to a restaurant, just like listen in on other white tables and be like, someone's ordering like something.
Escargot.
Yeah, like they'll be like escargot, and I'm like, shut
Yeah.
the fuck up. Just say escargot like a normal person. Say it in your normal voice. They'll like throw on an accent,
Yeah.
but for only that word.
Can I
And
get
the other thing is like they do it with words that don't have accents. Like if you say escargot to a French person, they'll understand what you're saying. If you say it weird, they won't have any idea.
Well, it's the whole thing of like, it's if someone says burger, like even if somebody comes up to me in like Spanish and orders like a hamburguesa, then I'm going to still go like, oh, that's still a hamburger. If they come up to me and go hamburguesa in an American accent, I'm just gonna be vaguely confused.
Yes, hello. Can I get a hamburguesa?
Hamburguesa.
I'm just gonna be really confused.
I love this because I love both sides because there's such an inherent comedy and it's like, can I get a tortilla? Versus can we as a table like get the am I saying it right, a margarita?
It's so yeah, they just throw entirely too much accent on it.
Like that's my favorite. That's like one of my favorite impressions to do is of a white person ordering food. It's like, can I get a box?
Well, it's like the funny thing about that scenario you created.
We're gonna be so bad. Can we get dessert? Shut up, Stacy. I know about your fucking cankles. Can we get like a slice of apple pie with 5 forks?
I'm not gonna be able to finish. Can I get a box?
This is just too much food.
Yeah. And what's even funnier about
I need the check. Can I get it? Can I get it to go? Actually, we're gonna get a dessert, but can I get it in a box? God. If you have not heard the song, "Can I Get It in a Box?"
That video is iconic because you know she was a waitress. If anyone doesn't know the video we're referencing, it's fantastic. I don't know what you'd search, but you'd probably just search "Can I Get a Box" on YouTube. It's a music video, technically.
And then it's because that's the successor of Shoes from early YouTube.
Yes, the spiritual successor.
And then "Can I Get a Box" has a spiritual successor called "Have You Seen My Vape?"
I've only is there a video
which is
accompaniment to that?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I have not. I've only heard the audio.
Someone that's in like baby metal outfits, not quite like the Lolita, but like that fashion, with like the platform shoes and like the crop top and the skirt, all in like baby pink.
I love that one.
I hate it
so much. I love it. It's like, where's my jewel? Like, have you seen my jewel? Because you wouldn't do that to me, right?
Please stop your Karen impressions.
It's my favorite impression that I can do. That's the only reason why I like this fucking voice that I have, is so that I can do that.
I hate it.
AFAB people will be like, if you don't stop oppressing me, I'm gonna go Karen voice on you.
I'm gonna use my fucking customer voice on you. Don't try me.
Yeah. Can we get a box? Actually, wait, hold on. I need. Sorry, excuse me. I'm gonna need like a few more minutes. I've been looking way too long at your wine selection.
Can my son's really picky. Can he get the cheeseburger but without the cheese?
God, that's how my brother used to order hamburgers.
So here's the thing: is
the thing that you have to do when doing this impression is you have to say thank you, but with an E. Thank you. Oh my god, thank you so much.
So when I worked as a server, I had to deal with that so much.
I hate this so much. I don't even work retail. This sucks.
So what this has gone from retail to actual serving, which is a job that I did do for like 6 months, and you had to deal with people like that. So I have actually had multiple, let's say, mothers who would ask, say, "Hey, can I get a cheeseburger with cheese?" And they'd say it the way that Jay's doing it, and it'd be like, if you look,
how true this is. If
you looked 6 inches up above the cheeseburger, there's a hamburger.
Yeah.
my personal
but because they're
favorite.
saying a cheeseburger without the cheese, you know what I'm bringing it up as? A cheeseburger, which costs like 60 cents
Ooh.
more.
Yeah, that was what I always got. I was like, "Are you sure you don't want a hamburger?" Because I know for my brother, and this is mostly because my brother is neurodivergent, and so he had to have his order be a certain way, and it had to be said a certain way, or he would freak out.
Mm-hmm.
And it had to be a cheeseburger with no cheese, no tomatoes, even though like the kids one doesn't usually come with tomatoes, no onions, and extra pickles.
Mm.
And that had to be how you'd say his order if he was in the room or he'd lose it.
No.
Like what Vez says is how, like, 2 inches up from the cheeseburger is the hamburger.
If
the thing you learn real fucking quick when working with the public is that people don't fucking read.
Which makes it even an even starker contrast, because while working that same job, I came across an older gentleman. I want to say he was probably in his 40s or 50s.
Middle age.
And we got into a conversation about books that we like to read, and we found that we both really liked science fiction, and in particular military science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So what he did one day, just out of the blue, is he brought me a flash drive, and on the flash drive was a series of books, and it was just like, because he told me about the series, and then he was like, if you go to your local library, you can in the book. In one of the books, there will be like a DVD, and on the DVD is just digital copies of all of the books.
Mm-hmm.
So then, just like out of the blue one day, I was just like, okay, I'll have to look into that, and then I kind of filed it away, and then immediately forgot about it on accident.
Yeah.
As one does.
So he just brings me a flash drive with just ripped copies of that DVD, basically. I was like, oh, cool. And then I ended up reading those books, and that. Unfortunately, I left that job shortly. They were good. My preference when it comes to science fiction is more realism is better. However, with certain stipulations that there are going to be things that are fantastical because it's science fiction, and who knows what's going to be possible 2,000 years from now.
Yeah. I tend to like. Yeah. Go on. Oh, I was just gonna say, for science fiction, because I'm opposite end of Vez, I tend to prefer a lot more fantasy with my own stipulations on it. When it comes to science fiction, I tend to like the works of closest one that comes to mind is like Adam Douglas and stuff. The
comedic.
They're very, because science fiction has like some of the best potential for comedy, and I always feel like it's wasted. So whenever I find a good comedic science fiction novel, I always go a little apeshit.
There's a book. It's made by there's a few books that are written by Yahtzee Croshaw, actually, and they're funny science fiction books. Like, we'll save the galaxy for food, we'll destroy the galaxy for cash. Yeah. I think he's working on a third, and they're good books, and they're funny because they're based on that same sort of comedic style of Douglas Adams and a few other authors that I can't remember off the top of my head right now.
Have you read Mogworld by Yahtzee Croshaw?
I have not.
It's pretty good because it was one of his first books, but basically it takes like fantasy RPG tropes and like takes them in the most literal way possible in universe.
That's
like
also a
really
really funny trope.
Yeah,
that's really
it
good.
Can be done really well.
Yahtzee Croshaw is a really good like parody based writer.
He's very good at what he does. And this isn't to say that he's advertising or anything like that. It's just a topic that came up. But if you do check them out, they're very good books, and I do recommend them.
I know another one, if you like that kind of stuff, is Catherine, spelled in the fucking weirdest way possible, Valente, has a book that I picked up recently called Space Opera, which is very, very funny. If you know anything about like genres and stuff, space operas are normally very odd in the fact that it's not quite like your normal rock opera. It's normally just this very long, drawn-out drama. but in space. Star Wars is considered space opera.
Yeah. If it involves politics at any point, it's a space opera, and that's why space opera is such a very broad genre. Which is why, if 99% of the time, if you pick up a science fiction book and you read the back, the first words you'll see is space opera.
So, however, this one tends to play on space opera being such a wide category in the fact that it's supposed to be that every civilization outside of Earth is so advanced that they've already had all of their wars and stuff, and they've realized that, like, it's really pointless to keep killing each other because everyone's just going to keep killing each other because somebody else killed someone. And she makes very interesting points about how, like, the only reason people kill someone else is because we have a different take on what is a person versus what is a meat. And meat is intrinsically not a person because of whatever stipulations you have put on what you consider a person. It's
dehumanization.
Yeah, and it's very interesting because it goes on how, like, even if you're of the same species, you can still consider someone meat just by, like, preset guidelines. And it's the ending line on that chapter as she's describing all of this is whether or not you let the dog eat at the table because he can speak and do arithmetic and mourn his dead wife, but he's still a dog.
Right, and simply calling him a dog rather than a human makes him intrinsically less valuable as a being, for lack of a better way to put that, because that's a very awful way to put that.
So
that's one
of course, Vezoth is the one that interacts with this the most out of anyone else.
So
that's because I am a writer. I'm working on a couple different novels. They're all kind of stagnating right now, but I'm still working on them. And these concepts are something that you need. That as a writer, there's something that needs to be understood, because if you don't understand them, they're going to be a problem.
Yeah. So, but with this book by Catherine Valente is all of that it's dealt with in the first chapter, and then she introduces her main character, which is non-binary, bisexual, polyamorous, nightmare rock star.
Fuck yeah.
I love it.
Whose first instinct as soon as possible is like, I have a lot of problems, I'm gonna throw myself into outer space. Because aliens invade Earth, and they're all like, so, we've decided that in order to keep the peace, every however long, we're going to have a massive, literal space opera, where it's a beauty pageant rock show.
Ooh.
That's funny.
I have not finished the book. I'm about a fourth of the way into it, but from what I've read so far, I love what the book has going for it. Like I said, it has a lot of the energy of a David Wong book, where there's a lot of really interesting philosophical questions paired with very well-timed comedy, so it doesn't take you away from the philosophical questions, but it does still make you laugh. Same problem I'm currently encountering with my rewatch of Fruits Basket. If any of you guys have watched that, I know I'm forcing Lily to now.
I'm
watch it.
I recommend it. It's one of those animes that its premise is very silly, which is that this girl is an orphan and she decides to move out on her own, and she lives in a tent in a forest because she doesn't want to be a burden on any of her friends. And in the process, she meets this very weird family that, when hugged by the opposite sex, will turn into an animal of the Eastern Zodiac.
Interesting.
Huh.
So, it's a very silly premise, and, like, the way that it's played is it acts like it's trying to be, like, a silly show, reverse harem anime, a lot like, Ouran Host Club. Mm. And then it hits you with stuff like, shut up. I'm not saying the full fucking thing.
You have to.
Boku no Hero Academia.
Shut up, I say that.
Just say My Hero Academia like a normal person. God.
Just say MHA.
Everyone knows. Or say the acronym. I only say BNHA if I'm talking about the manga specifically. Anyway, I highly recommend Fruits Basket because it deals with a lot of things that are very morally complex while still having a very silly air to it. Like characters beating each other up very cartoonishly after having, like, an episode that's entirely dedicated to how people tend to view their self-worth through the mirror of people that they care about. So there's a whole thing where, like, these two cousins are fighting, and they obviously love each other, but their rivalry tends to get in the way of both of them seeing what's good about themselves. It's a full, like, thing, and then it's immediately... The next episode immediately goes into very cartoonish violence, which is then, again, a whole thing about loving yourself and other emotional complexities.
Huh.
It's a very good anime, and I highly recommend it. It's what, especially because the 2019 reboot takes out a lot of the stuff of the initial one that made it hard to view, like the fact that they did originally have a pervert archetype in it, who now has just been he's now just the older brother character. So he just kind of sits in the corner and gives, like, weird advice instead of, like, initially, like, I think in the first scene he's in, he comments on the main character's skirt length. Now, instead, he's just like, why the fuck are you in my house? Which is a very, very good
Marked
question.
improvement.
Yeah.
Which is a very good question, because she is just at his house for some reason.
As you do.
But, yeah, there's a lot of stories like that do tend to get my attention. Catherine Valente does have another book that I own that I have not read, but that's a lot of books on my bookshelves. Which is, she wrote a book called The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairy World in a Boat of Her Own Making.
That's the whole title?
That's the full title of the first
I love
book.
that. I love it.
It's a mouthful is what it is.
It is a mouthful, but a lot of things
Fucking
are a mouthful.
Panic at the Disco song title.
It is. There's a lot of books that I have on here that are like that. I can't see any right now, but that's because my bookshelves are both a little bit out of the range of my lamp.
Ah, well. I don't currently have any books, just because I've just been through a variety of different moves this last year or so, and it's just
Yeah.
trying to travel with books is hard. Okay.
It is. In order to keep the books that I have, I've had to maintain such an iron grip on them that it's like I prioritize them more than my clothes at this point.
Yeah. Well, so when I was still living with my mother, I had a library of books. It was an entire bookshelf, and anytime we moved, it alone ate up 3 U-Haul boxes by itself.
Wow.
So when I moved to Texas, all I was able to bring with me was 3 bags, which is significantly smaller than 3 U-Haul boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was just for the books. So I was only able to bring a small handful, and I ended up just bringing with me 2 different series that I was really enjoying at the time. But at some point, some other move, they just disappeared, and I don't have them anymore, which
What
sucks.
the fuck was that?
I have no idea.
That's Tyler's brother.
Oh, okay. I thought someone was making that noise.
I mean, someone was. It's just not anyone here.
I thought it was someone on.
Someone was just so fucking bored.
God, you
External agony. Fucking stop talking about books. I hate it here.
A lot of
Anyways,
my books...
absolute non sequitur.
Okay,
Yeah.
go for it.
I've been I can't shut up about this. Yesterday, I was looking for chalk in my garage.
Yeah.
I was looking for chalk in
Ripstick.
my garage. Shut up! I'm getting to it.
What? Now I
Yeah,
need to hear
Vezoth
this
hasn't
story.
heard about this yet. He's the only
Vezoth
one.
doesn't follow us on Twitter.
I follow
was-
you on Twitter. I don't check Twitter. There's a difference.
I was looking for some sidewalk chalk because I wanted to draw on the fucking ground like a 5-year-old, and I found my ripstick that I used to ride in elementary school. And
That
if you
you
don't
used
know
to
what a ripstick is, it's basically
How old are you?
me?
No, if you don't know what
Oh,
a
how old are you
ripstick
if you don't know what a ripstick is?
Why are you
But-
listening to this if you don't know what a ripstick is?
Idiot. But yeah, it's like a combination of a skateboard and a snowboard. It's 2-wheeled and it's momentum based,
scooter.
so you kind of
I
wiggle
would-
your legs back and forth to move.
Yeah, it's based off of like a weird momentum factor on like a fulcrum vortex combination. It's weird.
It's weird, but I had the most giddy laughter of getting back on it. So
It's a weird combination.
I'm very safety conscious. I am terrified
Right.
of getting hurt. I am scared of making mistakes. It is apparent in my entire personality. But that aside, I
What did you do?
I also found some knee pads and elbow pads and an old helmet while I was looking for chalk, and you bet your fucking ass I put those on, also with fingerless gloves, and rode around the
Because, of
neighborhood.
course.
They posted a picture on their Twitter, and
Yes,
I
whoever-
have such hard eyes for Jay. It is crazy. It's a very cute photo.
I also doing that the other day. It made me want to learn how to skateboard, because like I feel like that'd be very fun.
Skip skateboarding, go right to longboarding.
Well, whatever.
Well,
What the
I'm
fuck
gonna be-
ever.
I'm gonna be
I
honest.
want to do that.
They're very similar, so making that skip isn't hard because while I was in high school, I ended up getting into the longboard scene. I bought a longboard.
That seems out of character for you.
So what happened was
Heavily.
in high school I used the longboard, and then when I got out of high school I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
That would explain
because
why it seems out of character for you.
because basically it was my main mode of transportation to and from school.
I was imagining Vez having like a Thrasher face.
No. You see, I don't have any phases. Vezoth is just Vezoth. Vezoth has existed for all time and will continue to exist for all time.
You hatched like this.
Bitch, I hatched like this. Don't even.
Exactly.
I will-
Nothing has changed.
For context, for like, because we're probably going to continue this joke in like fan content and whatnot. I didn't know what Vez looked like until I met him in person for his wedding.
And I'm going to be perfectly honest to those of us who are watching. I'm going to continue
Listening.
that same joke into our content.
No, it's
If I can get away with
I'll never
hiding
know.
what I look like, I will, and it will not be
the
difficult.
the funniest part wasn't because of lack of like posting pictures in our Discord servers or
I
whatever.
thought it would be funny.
He
It
has
is.
a toothless hoodie that has like all
No.
the little like fins and
It's
is
not-
it's not
No,
a toothless
it's-
hoodie, it's just a regular
It's not a
dragon
toothless hoodie. It's not even a dragon hoodie. So
What is
there's
it?
this company, and they're called Postar, and they used to sell this hoodie, the hoodie that I currently wear. And what it is basically a hoodie,
Mhm.
and on it just has fox ears attached to the hood,
Oh, okay.
and it cost me $80 because it's
Okay.
handmade. But they don't make it anymore. And
That saddens me.
exactly 3 people since I have purchased it back in my sophomore year have recognized it and commented on it. It was like, "Hey, did you get that from Posture?" I was like, "Yep." It's like, "Do they still sell it?" Nope.
Anyway,
'Cause-
so it's a black hoodie with ears on it, and he just pulls the hood entirely over his face and will post photos like that. You can't
And
see
I will-
anything but the hoodie.
And I'll also scrunch up my neck so you can't see my neck either. So it's just this big gray shape.
When I first saw it, because I met Vez when we were playing D&D, so we were D&D buddies for a while before we became like actual like friends.
Yeah, and it transitioned.
So it was like
As
this,
as as much as you can before you get close enough that you invite someone to your wedding.
Right.
yeah, you know. So like I knew nothing about Vez, and then like in this server I made for D&D back in the day, I made a selfies channel and we started posting pictures, and Vez posts this, and I was like, "Oh, what? Did you just take a picture of your chair?" And he's like, "No, I'm in the hoodie."
And that gag has persisted. I still, on occasion,
Yeah.
especially since we do get an influx of people into that server every once in a while. So every once in a while, I'll go ahead and take another picture. And I'm not reusing any of these photos. I'm taking a new one
No.
every time.
They look like the same photo.
Every time. The only way you can tell is like how far or close the
Like the
camera is.
the lighting's changed, or the wall's different, or the camera's a little bit closer to my face because I'm taking the photo blind.
Yeah, that's it. It's honestly really fucking funny.
Yeah. But with that, I think that's a good place to call the podcast for
The
this week.
podcast.
Indeed.
And
Yeah.
who knows, maybe one of those photos will make its way onto Twitter. If it does, it probably won't be me posting it. It's just someone else posting it and then adding me, which is
Why
fine.
don't you, why you can just fucking post your own photo?
You
Why do you gotta
can
make
use
it?
social
here's the
media,
thing.
it's
So
okay.
here's the
It's
thing.
not illegal.
I-
You can use social media. You freakazoid.
So here's the thing. My phone will not currently allow me to download new apps because my bank account is currently in the negative. So I cannot download the Twitter app.
Okay.
So
You can use
You
the
have a
desktop.
computer. You can
That's
copy.
just too
you
much
can
work.
copy paste. You don't even have to like download photos for Twitter. You can copy paste them like you can into Discord.
Fucking
That's just
We're done.
grandpa,
That's
we're
too much
done.
effort.
We're fucking done.
Done
But we're
recording.
done.
Bye.
Bye.